What
So
goes through your mind when you hear that there are more than 1,000 reports in such a short amount of time?
well, Florida is such a gigantic state, and now all 67 counties are under a declared state of emergency because of where the storm is likely to hit and the impact that it will have on Florida, and to some extent because the storm may shift and we're not 100% certain where it will shift. So I commend Governor DeSantis for his proactive leadership in that regard, but what that does is it opens up, in terms of the price gouging statutes, what areas are affected. And so it's incredible to me that we would have so many contacts coming in about alleged price gouging. Now, not all 1,000 at this stage will be determined to be price gouging. That's one of the reasons we have the hotline. It's one of the reasons we have now the app, No Scam, and that's because we want to be able to help consumers determine if it is price gouging, and if it is, and if unfortunately someone, a bad actor, wants to take advantage of Floridians during such a trying and emotional time, that we can go after them in real time and get people to change their behavior while this crisis is going on. And so what that means to me is the procedures we have in place and the plans that we've made are working.
What's the most outrageous report you've gotten so far?
Outrageous can mean many different things in these scenarios. I will tell you, in one instance, we noted a hike in gas prices, and when trying to, as we are trying to do, reach out with our rapid response team, investigators and attorneys that are working around the clock to address this, we had someone that was a little more, let's say, combative in their addressing our concerns. And so after discussions and after persuasively suggesting that increasing fines and the law was on our side, people will make adjustments. But that's one of the reasons we have these teams in place. It's one of the reasons we have the hotline, and we have lawyers on standby, not just our consumer protection team, but our statewide prosecutors who are working to assist. We want to make sure, as we are asking Floridians to take precautions, to buy food, water, medicine, 7-day supplies, know your evacuation routes, that as they're trying to go out and get these commodities, that they're not forced to pay prices that have been jacked up by bad actors. And so it's working. I am happy to say that we have had some instances that we've been able to adjust the price. In fact, in one instance, we had an investigator watch while a merchant refunded money.
Now, one of the biggest questions, one of the most frequent questions that we've been getting from people is, how do I know if something is price gouging? How do I know if something rises to that level? Because the law is a little vague when it comes to, what is grossly exceeding the price of the average 30 days. What do you say to people who are confused about that?
I tell Florida consumers to let us know when they think something is price gouging. Let us know. Call the hotline, 1-866-9-NO-SCAM. Call or go onto our app, download the app, which downloads to Apple and Android devices. Fill in the specific information, products, prices, weights, comparable prices. You can take pictures, you can describe a narrative. All of that helps us determine whether or not it falls within the parameters of price gouging. Every case will be unique. But that's why we have people on standby ready to discuss these things. And right now, we're focused on preventing this abhorrent behavior. And the more details we can get on the front end, after this storm passes, we'll be able to pursue those bad actors. Oftentimes, that's difficult for us to do after the emergency passes. When we weren't able to get complete information, once the emergency passes and people aren't as readily available, we've lost contact with them. We can't get that extra pieces of information to make those cases. That's why it's so important they call us if they think they've been a victim of price gouging.
The second most frequent question that we're getting from people is people are seeing individuals, maybe in their Facebook feeds, on social media, trying to resell items like cases of water for extreme prices. Can people report individuals who they believe are price gouging, or is this only restricted to businesses?
Yes, the price gouging statute will apply to individuals and businesses, and it will depend, again, and that's why we need the information from Floridians. I've been on the phone all morning with businesses trying to discuss what we're doing with in certain situations. Let's say in airline situations, whether if they change an airline ticket, whether trying to get out of Florida, whether that change fee will be waived, whether or not there's a cap on prices as they try and purchase tickets to get out. Our airlines have been terrific about that. And so the more information we can get, the more action we can take on the front end to stop this behavior. And I thank you for highlighting this, for sharing it with your viewers. We can help build a better system as Floridians are willing to work with us. It's one of the reasons this has been a priority of mine, and I'm just grateful you're willing to help us.
One thing that I noticed during Hurricane Irma is such a small percentage of the reports of price gouging actually had action taken from officials. Now, I know that you weren't the Attorney General at that time, but how do you explain why such a small amount of these reports are actually pursued by officials?
Well, we just talked about that early on. I can tell you that every contact that is made with our office doesn't always constitute price gouging. So that's number one, but we never want to discourage anyone from letting us know about a situation because it could in fact be price gouging, and we need to know that so we can take action. Another one of those reasons is something we discussed earlier. If we can't get that detailed information that we need, it is sometimes very difficult to pursue the action. And so that's why one of the reasons we developed the app. It's one of the reasons I'm encouraging Floridians to download it and make sure they're very specific in all of the information that's requested and provide a narrative of their situation so that we can more fully evaluate that and use that information as we pursue these claims. So in talking about numbers, we want to make sure that people understand not every inquiry will constitute price gouging, but by no means do we want to discourage people from letting us know if they feel that they've been a victim of price gouging, because if it is, we need to step in and address it.
Those are all the questions I had. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, Jenna, I appreciate it.